I recently sat down with Roxy Jones for an episode of the Fit Down Chat, and we talked about her experience with bodybuilding. And I started thinking, I wonder what it would be like to train that way. So this week, we're gonna try it out. I'm gonna implement a 5-day workout split and take you along the way. But first, let's chat some terminology. Okay, it might seem pretty obvious, but let's actually talk about what bodybuilding is. Bodybuilding is the use of progressive strength training to develop visible muscle for aesthetic purposes. A quick history lesson. Modern day bodybuilding is credited to Eugene Sandow in the 1890s. He started out in Europe as a professional strongman, but came to America and essentially started the bodybuilding craze. Now, I'm not gonna get into much more specifics than that because honestly, I don't think I'm really the person to talk about it. I'm not a part of that community. I'm not an expert in it. You can use the Google machine to find out more. So before we dive into the week, I do want to define what workout splits are and then talk to you about mine. I get asked by a lot of people, like, do I need a workout split or can I just do full body days? And I'm here to tell you that is a split, my friend. A workout split is simply just how you split up your workout. So if you're doing 2 full body days a week, that's a workout split. Now, my current split is actually a full body pull, full body push, and then a skills day where I'm working on, honestly, a lot of kettlebell skills because I am in a kettlebell certification course right now. And then maybe just like other fun things that I'm trying to work on that aren't super, super heavyweight. Now, when I went to bodybuilding.com, there are a lot of different types of splits. I went with the traditional 5-day bro split. Here's what it is. Day 1 is chest. Day 2 is back. Day 3 is shoulders and upper traps. Day 4 is legs, and day 5 is biceps and triceps. So that's gonna be our split for this video. Along the way, I'm gonna talk you through it, give you the pros and cons, but let's start with day 1, chest. Good morning. Barely. It's 11:59. It is Monday, and today is our chest day. We're actually gonna start this off at home for 2 reasons. Number 1, I can actually do all of this stuff with dumbbells. I could do a barbell chest press. I'm honestly not even strong enough in my chest to like make that worth it. So we can easily do this at home. Number 2, if you can't tell by the state of my face, I'm exhausted. The children's theater that I used to work at, I did volunteer to help out at their gala last night. And because we had to load out the theater, I was there till like 1 in the morning. So we will not be trekking to the gym today. So I'm gonna pop up, oh my God. Pop up the workout right here. We're gonna start with a good old-fashioned bench press. Again, I'll be using dumbbells. Then we're gonna head into a chest fly. Then we're gonna go into an incline chest press and then round it out with some decline push-ups. And I wanna explain a little bit why I chose these exercises and why I put them in this specific order. So your chest or your pecs actually have 3 different heads, and we're going to be specifically talking about the pec major. So your pec major has a clavicular part, a sternocostal part, and then a abdominal part. Basically upper, mid, lower. So you have 3 different sets of fibers that attach in different places, are kind of responsible for slightly different functions, and then also their fibers run in different directions. So when we train the chest, we want to make sure that we're training at different angles to hit all 3 parts of it. So if we go back to our program up here, we can see that the bench is going to work more of those middle fibers. Chest fly, I always think of as more like stabilization, and that's actually going to be the pec minor. For our purposes today, keeping it simple, pec minor, we're going to say helps to stabilize the scapula, but also we're obviously going to have that adduction back to the body. The incline press is going to work more of your lower fibers. It's always the opposite. I have to remember that. And then the decline push-up is going to work more of your upper fibers. So I chose 4 exercises that kind of work the chest in 4 different ways. Now I did kind of sneak in there like one of the functions of the chest, so let's just talk about that really quickly. First one is arm adduction, so bringing the arm closer to the midline. Next is arm internal rotation. Also going to be in charge of arm flexion, so when we think of a bench press. And then I think it's the middle fibers are like slightly, like they assist in like arm extension, which is going to be more dominant in like the lats. I think it's the middle fibers. But anyway, those are the main functions of the chest. So we're going to get our space set up, grab our dumbbells, grab our bench, and we're gonna do a nice chest workout today. All right, I just did my warm-up. I decided for the sake of the length of the video, I'm not gonna show my warm-ups. I did make a whole video about how to design your own like efficient, specific warm-up, but if you have specific questions about like warming up the chest or legs or biceps or triceps or anything like that that you see in this video, let me know. Also, the window's open for some air, so if you hear cars, sorry. And yeah, we're gonna get right on into it. I think this will be fun too, doing this at home, because I can do more of like a mic'd up session. I feel like those are really trendy, and there's no way in hell I'm doing that in a public gym. So the biggest question I do get asked with chest pressing is about the arch in your back. And This is gonna be a little bit different for everybody depending on your anatomy and your comfort. But this is actually one of those few exercises where you don't wanna create that like pelvic tuck or neutral spine. Essentially, without getting too much into the anatomy of it, it is a safer position for your shoulder to be chest pressing, and we'll just leave it at that. I'm doing 25s. Since this is a bodybuilding program, we're working for hypertrophy. So traditionally, hypertrophy is 3 to 5 sets of 6 to 12 reps. As more studies have gone on, it has been proven that hypertrophy can happen outside of that rep range, but we're gonna be sticking with that today. I've been doing 25s for a little bit at 10 reps, so we're gonna see how we do. Maybe we'll try and aim for 12 today. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is slide my shoulders underneath myself, plant my feet, squeeze my glutes, and you can see I've got a little separation under my back. From here, big inhale. Exhale. I've got a little bit of an A shape happening rather than a full field goal. I've already lost count because I'm talking. Shit. All right. The other thing when you are working in general strength training is you want to make sure you're taking rest. I am going to take 2 minutes of rest in between. I would say depending on the weight that you're lifting, your strength level, your goals, your rest time's going to vary. But most people working in more of like a bodybuilding style will take a little bit higher, like 2 to 3 minutes of rest between sets, unless you're one of the gym bros at my gym who would literally take like 15-minute rests after doing like 2 reps of a deadlift. So. All right, here we are, round 2. Whew, okay, felt good round 2. So as we're going throughout the week, I wanna kind of talk through like pros and cons as they come up. I would say right off the bat, a pro of working out in this bodybuilding style is that I know on a chest day, like I'm not gonna get super sweaty, and that's kind of nice. Most of the workout is laying down. Like I'm sure with the push-ups, I'm gonna build up a little bit more of a sweat, but it's kind of nice that after this, like I don't need to shower. I don't necessarily need to wash my face. I'm just gonna like probably put on makeup, film a few things, and then move on with the rest of my day. All right, final set, baby. Oh, all right. Next up is chest flies. I have never done chest flies with these giant dumbbells. So we're gonna try 15s today. Same thing, 3 sets, 6 to 12 reps. Let's try it. Ooh, I think with this one, you do want your back flat. That's a good question. Also, I don't know everything because I usually do them on the floor, not a bench. And the floor is gonna be a little bit different than a bench because you have less range of motion. Let's try it out, see how it feels. All right, so back is flat. We're gonna inhale out, micro bend in the elbows, and pull back in. Okay, let's do a little arch of the back, see how that feels. All right, I don't really know. I kind of want to Google this. You should avoid arching your back in a chest fly. Good to know. All right, 90 seconds. That seems like a good place for me with the weight I'm lifting. So let's do it. Oh yeah, I definitely have way more stability being able to press my low back down. All right. Ooh, okay. Done with exercise number 2. That's our halfway point. We're gonna bring our weights back up 5 pounds and we're going for that incline chest press. So we started with 25s, we went down to 15s, now we're up to 20s. Which actually brings me to another con of working out this way. I'm working one muscle group and I've already used 3 different sets of dumbbells. So I think that that just applies to maybe like if you're in a busy gym setting and other people are there, you might not have the actual equipment that you need. But also if you're at home and let's say you don't have a full set of dumbbells or adjustable dumbbells, you could be pretty limited in what you have access to and therefore not be lifting the correct amount of weight for a hypertrophy goal. We're getting a little tired, obviously, and I would say 20s is like what I would do this with if it was like the first thing I was doing. So we'll see how this goes in terms of reps. The goal in my head is gonna be 8. For this guy, we are bringing back the arched back, and you wanna get those shoulder blades underneath you, press those feet into the floor, squeeze your butt like crazy, and you're gonna be surprised how much you feel this in your core, which we'll talk about why in a second. faces I was making, I'm sure were insane. Okay, let's chat. I'm also aware my form on these is not like impeccable perfect. It's not something that I train super often, so just bear with me. But let's talk about why you feel this so much in your core. So anytime that you're holding weight away from your center of gravity, your core has to stabilize, because if we think about the main function of the core, it's to stabilize the spine. So if the weight's out here, our spine is going to want to counteract that. So essentially what we have to do is use our core to stay in that nice strong positioning. Another pro of this type of workout is that you can really easily track your progressions in terms of how strong you're getting, because a lot of this programming is going to be pretty similar week to week. Little micro adjustments here or there, but it is like a true hypertrophy program using progressive overload. Whew, okay. So I think another pro of this is like, as long as you're being efficient with your rest time, you can do this workout fairly quickly, in my opinion. Obviously, the heavier you're lifting, the more rest you will need. But again, I'm gonna tell you right now, you do not need 10 minutes of rest. You just don't. If you need 10 minutes of rest, you're going way too heavy. Whew. All right, 3 sets of 8. I'm proud of myself. Let's move this shit, and we're gonna go for some decline push-ups. Let's talk about sets and reps. 3 sets. Maybe we'll do this like pyramid style. I'm knowing that I'm gonna be so fatigued. Maybe like 10, 8, 6. Maybe that's what we'll try. All right, feet are going on top. You wanna walk it out into your plank. Tuck your hips under, right to start. Big inhale. Exhale. Oh my God. I'm tired. We're not doing 10. We're doing 3 sets of 6 maybe. Okay, that was 8. I also was way too close to the edge of my bench. I don't know if you saw it teeter-tottering. I was like, oh God. Oh, okay. There's a reason I never do those, and it's because they feel terrible. Okay, so we're gonna do that 2 more times. I just did 8. Let's aim for at least 6. I'm gonna really try not to go below that 6 to 12 rep range for the purpose of this video. But also if our form starts to suffer, it's like literally not worth it. All right, let's go. Round 2, actually get your feet on your bench, Justina. Fantastic. Oh, we did it. All right, that was it. I'll see you tomorrow. Zoe, show everyone your new bod. Come here. Give us a little strut. Good morning. All right, just a quick word on Zoe. She's fine. She goes to the vet every year, gets her annual checkup. The vet recommends that we shave her because she's so hairy and she gets really hot in the summer. No need for concern. So today's our back day, and I want to talk a little bit about what that actually means. So when I talk about the back, I'm talking about the lats, the rhomboids, and then the mid and low traps. Those are going to be like the 4 main muscle groups that I'm focused on. What do? So lats are in charge of shoulder extension. Rhomboids are in charge of shoulder retraction, as well as the mid traps, and then low traps are going to be in charge of shoulder depression. So we really kind of think of these as like our posture muscles. Also, I know that all of those muscles do other things. I'm just trying to keep it super simple because I feel like I went a little too hardcore on the chest yesterday. Right off the bat though, oh yeah, that wasn't yesterday, that was 2 days ago. So that brings me to my point right off the bat. Here's a big con. I literally did not have time to go to the gym yesterday. So one of the cons of this type of split is that it takes a lot of time and commitment. So like what happens if you have to miss a day? Do you just skip it and not hit it for a whole week? Do you push your whole schedule? Do you combine 2 days? Like, I think that is a big con. I have a very flexible schedule. I have a hard time fitting in all of this movement. So something to think about. Anyway, it's honestly just 3 exercises. I'll put them up here and we'll kind of talk about like why I programmed each of these in a voiceover, because I will not be doing a mic up session in person. Let's go.
Got a couple cracks on it, oh well.
So I'm starting with my big lift, a barbell row. I call it my big lift because it's going to require the most stability out of all 3 exercises since I'm not seated at a machine. This is also a horizontal pull, meaning I'm pulling the weight horizontally in relation to my torso, and I specifically chose an underhand grip to vary the grip between my exercises today. The lat pull down is my vertical pull of the day. I'm doing an overhand grip to bias more of the lats, whereas the underhand row I just did will bring in more bicep to assist. And finally, we're ending with a seated row. I have the attachment that's narrow with a neutral grip, and this exercise will target more of the rhomboids. But honestly, in general, all 3 exercises work the 4 main muscle groups that we discussed at the beginning. I'm a pretty thing, I'm a show out in town. It's day 3 of our split. So day 3 is our shoulders and upper trap split. I'm gonna ignore the upper trap part because my traps are wild, and instead we're gonna call this our shoulder day. So let's talk a little bit of anatomy with the shoulders or the deltoids. There's a lot going on with like the whole shoulder complex. Like we could get into the rotator cuff, the teres major and minor. Like we're not gonna deal with that today. We're gonna talk about the delts, and there are 3 different parts of your delt. You have your anterior or clavicular delt, your lateral or acromial delt, and then your posterior or spinal delt. I usually just say front, mid, back. Any of that verbiage is totally acceptable and people always know what you mean. So let's talk about what the delts do. Again, we're gonna keep it super simple. Your anterior delt is gonna help with shoulder flexion. Your lateral delt is gonna help with shoulder abduction, so away from the body, like it's being abducted. Get it? And then your posterior delt is going to help with shoulder extension. So just a side note here, you'll actually notice that we've talked about some of these movement patterns at the shoulder joint with other things. For example, the lats are also in charge of shoulder extension. This is actually one of the main reasons that I don't train muscle groups, I train movement patterns. So that's why when you see in my personal workouts, I do a push-pull split rather than upper-lower, or rather than, you know, the 5-day split that we're doing today. So that's just something to think about, and that's it. Let's talk about the program today. We are going to be doing this at home because, again, today I literally do not have the time to go to the gym. So we're going to start off with a seated overhead press. This is going to work more of the anterior delt. Then for the sake of time, I'm actually going to superset my next 2 exercises because we have a busy day. So we're going to be doing lateral raises directly into a rear delt fly. The lateral raises are going to work the lateral part of your delts, and then the rear delt fly is going to work the posterior part of your delts. I'm definitely realizing that as I'm going through like looking at all of my programming, I've still definitely programmed things from like a functional point of view. I feel like, I don't know, a bodybuilder would program differently than me. We're not going to overanalyze it. We're not going to really think about it. I feel like my brain is still working in like, am I hitting all of my angles, all of my tempos, all of my movement patterns? Like I'm still thinking in a functional brain, and that's it. So I actually have a nutrition client, and then we're going to jump into this workout. We're going to do it right here, baby. Bring it around town. Okay. All right, it's now a little bit later than I wanted to start this workout, but my sister called me, and I love talking to my sister. So instead of just like sitting down and talking to her, I cleaned up my space a little bit and got everything set up and did my warm up. And then I told her, all right, bitch, we got to get off the phone. So here we are. Anyway, let's do this. Okay. So I don't do a lot of seated overhead press, if not any. Have I ever done this before with like the back rest? We're gonna aim for 3 sets of TBD reps because this feels heavy. I know, oh, that was Delco. I know too that the big boys, they like to go out here, and that's gonna mimic a barbell too. I typically do like a closer grip. I find that it's safer on the shoulder, and like fastest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. So why would you like J shape it up? But let's try it. This might be too much weight for out there. Okay. All right. They felt heavier starting than when I actually started pressing. Yeah, I just don't love that open position. I am working on what's called the scapular plane, meaning more of that diagonal line rather than straight out to the side. This is like, whoo, you're gonna get like a little shoulder tear. So I was definitely keeping it safe, but I don't know, I prefer it nice and closed off. All right, rest. All right, last one. Got one more in me. Whew. All right, last round was 10. Really felt that. Whew. Right here. Let's move this shit out of the way. Last 2 exercises. I feel like I already have like the wildest pump. So we are supersetting lateral raises with a rear delt fly. I don't know why I had to show it to you like that instead of just doing it. Honestly, the reason I'm supersetting this is because I want it to be over faster and it's the same weight. So that's it. Okay, so first, lateral delts. Little bend in the knees, making sure, actually this is a good thing to show you guys. You're gonna make sure that your core is engaged. So I like to relax and kind of go into like bad posture, even though that doesn't exist, but that's a video for another time. Exhale, bring my ribs and my pelvis closer together, and you're gonna have abdominal tension here. Even though this is an isolated upper body exercise, you wanna have that support underneath, and then you'll take a slight bend in the knees. So we were kind of in like a standing plank position with our torso. Like I talked about, we wanna work on that scapular plane, so not fully out to the side, on a bit of a diagonal. I'm using 10s. You definitely want to go lighter than you think for this exercise. And make sure that you're not just working through momentum. I have no idea what I'm at. Let's do 3 more. Whew. Okay, shake it out. I'm going to go immediately into some rear delt flies. So same thing. Find that abdominal tension. Find your nice strong hinge. Oh God, why did I superset these? Whew. Okay, in hindsight, terrible idea. Only because we're also using those lateral delts here because we're also coming into that abduction. So I basically just did like 20 reps, just at 2 different angles. I love you.
I love you too.
Faces. Oh my gosh, not attractive. Whew. I have to say, and again, we're just proving my point, I feel so much lat connection in both of those. So yeah, I don't know if I said this as a con already, but the idea of training individualized muscle for the everyday person, I don't think is necessary. Because again, if we think of what a bodybuilder is doing, they're trying to pack on muscle to compete with, not to function with. So if we are not functioning as a bodybuilder, why would we train that way? Anyway. Oh my gosh. Come on, you can do it. Okay, that's it. Done with that. Whew. Guys, I'm so excited for tomorrow. Tomorrow's leg day. Thank God. Also, just like how stereotypical is it that in a typical bodybuilder split, there's 1 lower body day. Men, train your legs. I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. It's leg day, baby. We're gonna chat now. It's about 7 a.m. on a Friday because in an hour, I'm teaching my core class. And then the way that my day is set up, I am going immediately to the gym at 8:30. So let's talk about leg day. Again, I don't usually split up my workouts like this, but if we're talking about the legs, we're gonna be talking about a lot of different muscle groups. We're talking about quads, the glutes, the hamstrings, inner and outer thighs, the calves, like there's a lot going on here, which also means that I feel like we have to do a lot today. This is the only day of the week that we're hitting our legs. Like I said, I usually train push and pull. So that's going to separate me out into training my legs twice a week. So I don't know, this just feels like a lot of volume that I have to do. I literally wrote like TBD, I don't know, like 10 times. I know for sure that I want to work on my trap bar deadlifts because that's a skill that I've been working on. We're going to see if I'm brave enough to try the leg press machine, and I'm going to go for more of a narrow stance to make it more quad dominant, since in the trap bar deadlift, we're going to be working more glutes and hamstrings. I then wrote down, we're going to do a split squat, I don't really know what my rationale was there. Would it be better to do an isolation movement? I also have TBD machine written. I think I'm gonna take today to walk around and see what machines are open and just play. So instead of approaching this from a place of like overwhelm and decision fatigue, I'm gonna approach it from a positive angle of like, I don't get to train this way all the time, so I'm just gonna go in and play with things that I wouldn't necessarily play with. But as we're sitting here, I feel like that's kind of a con of this style of split because the upper body is divided into 4 whole different days. I'm having a really hard time like picking what exercises I should focus on for my lower body. Why aren't we splitting that up? So I'm going to call that a con. I got to finish my makeup, keep on moving. We will see you in about an hour and a half going to the gym. We started strong with the trap bar deadlift. Like I explained on back day, I'm gonna start with the lift that requires the most energy. I've been working on these for about 2 months and finally graduated to the big boy plate, so I'm actually super proud of myself for that. Then I went to the leg press downstairs and it was taken, so I wandered around for 10 minutes and decided to just work on my kettlebell front squats that I typically do in my programming. It does work here because it's a quad focused movement, so I'm still getting done what I need to get done, just in a different way. And then when I ventured upstairs, I actually found another leg press machine. This one was a lot easier to use than the very intimidating one downstairs with plates, so after watching a YouTube video on how to use the machine, I went a few rounds and really liked it. I might actually start adding this into my personal programming. Then I wandered around for 5 more minutes and left because I was overwhelmed without a program to follow. Good morning. Okay, so I have to come clean with you guys. I never finished the last day of my split because honestly, I think that the biggest con here is it takes so much time in my schedule. You know, I was planning to do it on Saturday. Saturday, we ended up sleeping in and then went to go see a show. And then I went to go see Kevin's comedy show. And I like could have gotten up and done the workout, but then like I would have also had to like film it. And I was just like, I don't feel like doing that. I'm going to do it on Sunday. Sunday rolls around. We go on a walk. I clean the apartment. I do all my ingredient prep for the week. And then I'm like, well, I don't want to do this workout and film it now. And then yesterday, Monday rolls around and I was just like, I just want to get back to my normal thing. Part of me was like, oh, I could like just do this workout today and pretend like it's the same part of my split. But I think that the more realistic and smarter thing to do is just to like give you the anatomy, give you the workout I was going to do and call it a day. So let's do that. Okay, so the final day of the split was biceps and tricep. Function of the bicep, elbow flexion. Function of the tricep, elbow extension. Very simple. Here's the workout I was going to do. So if you would like to try this workout, you're more than welcome to. I have a feeling I wouldn't be able to use my arms the next day and like I need to do that for work. So overall, I think we got in plenty of pros and cons throughout the entire video. I don't want to sit here and be like,
no one should ever do this type of split.
Because honestly, it might work really well for you. There were a lot of great pros in here. When I weigh the pros and cons of this type of split, it just doesn't work for my lifestyle. I shockingly don't have the time to commit to it, even though I have a very flexible schedule, but it's not really what I enjoy. And we also have to take into account the additional movement I'm doing teaching outside of my structured workouts. So I would love to hear what your current split is down in the comments below. And just let me know if you liked this style of video. Maybe I'll try something in the future. But in the meantime, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And I will see you all in the next one.